What's going on, Penny boys and gals? What's going on, Stockters? And welcome to another Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Eastern, trading trivia, trading fun night. I don't know. I know we are changing the name here, trading community night, or however we want to call it. But as y'all know, we do fun games, and then sometimes we even do some lessons on trading psychology. And of course, we followed up with our 6 p.m. trading psychology stream with Nikki. But for those of you who are not watching live, we have this recorded after the fact. So welcome to the recording. And you can see on the screen all the people here live. We have around 23 people here live. We got Gambling Man, Duco, Takak, Pookies, Mad Maverick in the chat so far. I see Charlie in there as well. But let's get right into it, because this class is actually a very important one. It's talking about something that a lot of people talk about, but we're going to be talking about some new concepts, or at least new to me. And I've been in this Discord for a while, and I've heard a lot of different streams. But when it comes to FOMO, just gonna check the chat here for a second. I'm on TV, says Pookies. I have to, okay, we'll see in a little bit there. Breckle. Gambling Man says I'm famous. Just making sure I got everything set up before I get right into it, and we are good. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about FOMO and different strategies that we can use to work on managing our FOMO. So we're going to dive deep and go beyond what we've learned about FOMO in the past during our free education, which, by the way, if y'all, I see there are a few free people here. So make sure to take advantage of our over 100 free trading classes in that free education channel. But we're going to be going over some stuff that we haven't talked about in those free education psychology channels when talking about controlling FOMO. I know this answers like, we talk about all the time, taking a break or taking a deep breath when you have FOMO, and those strategies do help. But that just scrapes the surface when it comes to strategies for managing our FOMO and emotions that typically lead to losses or quitting. Everyone wave. Well, hope maybe, Gambling Man, you win the, I see you say I'm a free person, but maybe you'll win one of these giveaways and we'll get you in premium, get you some access to one of these coaches like Mad Maverick, our swing trading coach who is here in the chat. What's going on, Lee? But once again, taking a break, taking a deep breath, that just scrapes the surface when it comes to strategies. Once again, strategies for managing our FOMO and emotions that typically lead to losses or quitting. So first thing first, what is FOMO? First person to say what it stands for in the chat gets their name put on the wheel. What does FOMO stand for? There we go. We got Stickman on my chat. I see Master, Mad Maverick, everyone on there as well. I got you, Stickman. So you are correct. FOMO does stand for fear of missing out. But in reality, FOMO, when it really boils down to it, is fear. Forget the of missing out part for now. Once again, FOMO is fear. We feel fear when we feel threatened. It's human nature. And it's a good thing, especially when we were hunters and gatherers. It's what kept us alive. In trading, though, it can destroy portfolios. We feel fear. My odds will go down now. We feel fear when we feel threatened. In the case of FOMO, the missing out part is the threat. So missing out for us is a threat because we, as traders, a lot of time new traders, perceive missing out as a threat. So when we feel a threat, we get that fear and we turn on our flight or fight mode, or fight or flight mode, however you want to put it. We naturally prime ourselves for action when we enter this fight or flight mode. So we're priming ourselves for action. The blood flow in our brain goes from the frontal cortex to the motor area of the brain, which is priming for action. We are perceiving an emergency, and our blood flow is literally changing because of that. Like there's something actually happening here, like in our brains. We're not aware. We can't see it. We can see the chart go up and down. We can't see this happening, when we're entering fight or flight mode because we have this threat, missing out. So does anyone here in the chat know what happens in the frontal cortex? I'll put someone on the wheel, or first 2 or 3 people on the wheel, to have a good answer for that. What happens in the frontal cortex of our brain? Freeze and die mode was me today. I'm not, Pookies. No, I remember back in 2020 when you were, before you were, staff, you would always be answering them first, and I had to almost ban you from from those. But then no, you're cool about it. Those. I had to DM hey Pookies, you're doing an amazing job with this stuff, but we need somebody else to have a turn. Let's see. So creativity release serotonin, chemicals release, abstract thinking. The question again is, what happens in the frontal cortex of the brain? Pookies, I would love your answer too, because Master says let someone activates fight or flight response. There's probably looks like a Google response. Yeah, no, I got some. All right, there's some good names on or good answers on there. I'm just gonna get some of you on the board. Follow dopamine. So one big thing that happens with the frontal cortex when it comes to trading, at the very least, and in these situations, is higher level of thinking, judging, planning, sometimes creativity, all the things that we should be doing while we are trading. Higher level of thinking, judging, planning. This is all things that we want to be doing while we're trading. Um, so when we perceive a threat, we go into this fight or flight mode, and the blood flow in our brain goes to the motor area of our brain, which puts us in a more impulsive mode. So we want to be feeling, higher level of thinking, judging, planning. But when we get in that fight or flight mode, our brain naturally, the blood flow and all that good stuff, it goes to the motor area of our brain and puts us in a more impulsive mode, or this fight or flight mode. So the key to overcoming this is to remove the threat out of the situation. Once again, the key to overcoming this is to remove the threat out of the situation. So if we don't feel a threat, we will not enter. Ideally, we will not enter fight or flight mode. So the threat in this case is missing out. When it comes to FOMO, it's missing out is the threat. So we need to stop looking at missing out as a threat in order to not enter fight or flight mode due to FOMO. So I know all of us here, but the question, who here has missed out on a big move or trend in the past? Anyone here ever missed out on a stock? Anyone here ever maybe missed out on crypto? Anyone in the chat here missed out on AMC or GameStop? Maybe Dogecoin, crypto in general. I sold Doge at like 0.00002 or something stupid like that, just due to not liking Robinhood, where I had the Dogecoin on. That's missing out, especially where it's at right now, or where it went to. Every day, me, always me. Yeah, see, look at that. Mad Maverick is one of our top traders here, veteran traders. I think has a finance degree and everything. Always missing out. See, missing out is normal. Us, a lot of new traders, we see it as a threat, because to us, it's not normal. To new traders, oh, I missed out on this. I missed out on that. These are threats to us. This is us missing out on money, missing out on opportunity, and we see it as a threat because we don't normalize it, because we have been doing this forever, like Mad Maverick has. When Mad Maverick misses out on stuff, he realizes, well, been doing this for a while, missed out on a lot. Guess what? I'm still doing well. This is normal. He doesn't get into fight or flight mode when he's missing out on a trade, or when he starts to feel, when whatever those for us, maybe it's looking at Profits channel on a trade we missed out, or looking at Weeble comments. He does that. He doesn't get all fight or flight mode, like, oh man, I missed out on this, I need to get into a new one, because he's been trading for a while and he's understood how to master his emotions and control his FOMO, which is what we're talking about here tonight for a lot of the new traders out here, people who've been doing it for a while and still haven't gotten the hang of the psychology portion. We all miss out on moves. It's part of trading. Let's see. Mad Maverick says, I miss out on some big ones all the time, but I focus on the plan I have for the day and trades I've been watching. That's huge. We rely more heavily on the fight or flight and tend to resolve stress with violence and impulses, Pookies. Yep. We all miss out on moves. It's part of trading. You're gonna miss out on more, whether it's a big crypto move, or a crypto boom, or the NFT boom in 2020. I got in right at the end of it and lost a good amount of money. And because of that, that's what would that's FOMO right there. If I let that become FOMO. As humans, we are unable to be attentive 24/7 to each and every move and news article in the market. This is not possible. We aren't AI. We are going to miss out. Mad Maverick misses out. He's doing phenomenally for his account and his portfolio. You all seen it. And it's okay to miss out. It's normal. We need to normalize missing out as new traders so that we don't perceive it as a threat. I used to work with dogs, and some of them were abused in the past. So in order to get these dogs, or some of the more timid ones, to trust you, or just trust me around them, I sometimes have food or treats and throw one of them near the dog, and throw a little closer to myself, and a little closer and a little closer, until they finally get comfortable eating out of my hand. They trust me. Getting them to trust me to eat the food from my hand because of the motivation. The reason I was able to do this was because the motivation the dog had to get the food became greater than the fear of me, or the motivation to avoid me. So their motivation to get that food became greater than the fear. So they had a motivation that was greater than the fear. So for traders, what motivation is greater than P&L? Because if P&L, portfolio, your wins and losses in your portfolio, if that is your only motivation as a trader, then losing money will most likely be viewed upon as a threat, because losing money is a threat to your P&L. Losing money is a threat. Missing out on trades, FOMO, that's a threat now, because your P&L is your only motivation and is keeping you from making money and adding to that P&L. You don't want missing out or losing money to become a threat. Successful traders like Mad Maverick and Pookie's Revenge and Matster in the chat, they don't care about their portfolio P&L. Obviously, they're not just going willy-nilly, just letting, everything go to zero. Obviously they have some sense of care, but that's not the thing they only care about. They also care about learning their learning P&L. So how much, how much they're learning year on year, month over month, week over week. If you're also concerned about your learning P&L, then missing out or even losing on a trade, that isn't a huge threat, because we journal our trades. We learn how to turn these losses into lessons. We create lessons from these losses. It's not a threat anymore as much as it would be if we were only motivated by wins and losses in P&L. So successful traders care more about consistency than they do about portfolio P&L. This is why we journal our trades, so we can have more statistics on our trading to track our consistency and growth. Who here in the past, or even maybe now, has noticed, maybe noticed, or maybe it's just now they noticed that their P&L, the wins and losses, was or is the biggest thing, the biggest motivation factor in trading right now, bigger than your learning P&L, your growth factors. I'm curious. Are you tricking us to trust you using duck boxes? That says Duco. That's hilarious. I cannot deny that, nor can I confirm that. So when we miss out on a trade, does that mean we are missing out from learning and growing? No, it doesn't. So by focusing on our learning P&L, our learning wins and losses, we turn FOMO into a pothole or a bump in the road, not a threat. Once again, FOMO is no longer a threat now. It's just a bump in the road, because we're learning, we're growing. That's what matters. It's not the wins and the losses. That loss isn't a threat. That loss is a lesson. Remember, when that loss becomes a threat, or missing out becomes a threat, we enter fight or flight mode. And then our brain does all that stuff we were just talking about, which usually leads to emotional trading, which we don't want. It doesn't matter how good you are at charts and fundamentals. If you let that happen and you become an emotional trader, you're going to usually end up losing money and usually end up quitting. FOMO is a bad habit. A lot of people say that the secret to breaking any bad habit is to love something greater than that habit. With addiction, a lot of the time it's family, kids, or friends, and the love for them or the love for oneself that helps people break the habit or the addiction. I know Austin talks about this all the time in his, on his Wednesday calls, which you can check out in the event channel for anyone who is struggling with that. I know Austin does run the Never Alone Recovery, which is a huge part of this Discord, or just this community feels. But something else needs to matter more than portfolio P&L to break the habit of FOMO. Once again, something else needs to matter more than your wins and losses in your portfolio P&L in order for you to break that habit of FOMO. So now we're going to be talking about a few strategies for overcoming fear and FOMO, starting with exposure therapy. That might sound scary, but this is where we train ourselves to relax even during stressful situations, to avoid that fear and that fight or flight mode that causes so many losing trades for us. Because a lot of those trades, if you look at your P&L, a lot of those losses aren't because you didn't look at the chart the right way, or you didn't know how the RSI worked. It's probably because you let your emotions take the best of you. Your emotions took the wheel, not your strategy. A lot of the time, it's not the setup, it's not the strategy, it's not the chart or fundamental knowledge that causes losses, it's the emotions. We need to practice and work on these trading psychology things that we're talking about, these tools that we're talking about, and strategies we're talking about, in order to grow as traders, just like we practice charting. I know with, for those who are in Jay's charting, or Jay's technical analysis group sessions, all the time, you're practicing the charts, practicing drawing out support and resistance over and over and over and over again until it becomes just like it becomes super easy. Just like, it's like nothing to it. Same deal with practicing psychology and, these strategies. We just had to do it over and over and over again. So this thing we're talking about, exposure therapy, it consists of visualization techniques and breathing exercises to slow the body down, which is the opposite of the flight or fight response, or where we're at in our bodies with the fight or flight response. So first, we're going to make an anxiety hierarchy list. You don't have to do this now. You can do this after class if you like, or later on. This is recorded. But this is a anxiety hierarchy list when it comes to missing out while trading. So how it works is we get a notepad or a Google document or Google Docs, Word, whatever, and we make a list rating scenarios that can be perceived as threats in order from biggest threat, 10, to smallest, 1. These are threats when it comes to missing out while trading. So, for example, 4 for some people might be a watch list play I didn't take went for 100%. Whereas an 8, which is more, might be my phone died on me right before I was about to enter a trade that ran 100%. Or my phone died in the middle of a day trade and I missed out on selling for profits. That's happened to me. That's like an 8 or 10 for me as far. That caused me a lot of anxiety. I put that probably 8, 9, or 10 on the list for me personally. 1 for some people might be, Weeble comments talking about a stock or a stock being talked about on Reddit. For some people, it might not bother them as much. It might be a 1, but for some people, it might be a 4 or a 5. Everyone's different. Once again, this is a anxiety hierarchy list when it comes to missing out while trading. Weeble comments, says the dude. Yep. Yeah, Weeble comments. Yeah, once again, for some people, they can just brush it off. It's a 1. For some people, they see all those comments about, this XYZ stock's going to the moon, XYZ stock's going up. Or maybe it's people saying, it's going to go down to 0, it's going down and down. You have a long position in it based on a strategy. Now, all these Weeble comments are telling you to sell. Well, some people, it might be a 1, they just brush it off. For some people, that causes a lot of anxiety. It might be an 8, and it might actually make them sell, and they might miss out on profits. Everyone's different. That Weeble comments might be a 1 for some people, 8 for 8 for others. I trade stocks like I'm watching. Like, what is this? I trade stocks like I'm watching a sports game. So you scream at the TV and throw things until everyone quietly leaves the room. Mm-hmm. Jakak is 100%. Yeah, Weeble comments lie. Unless it says Mad Maverick before it. So yeah, once again, everyone is different. So you can do this after the class. This anxiety hierarchy list. The goal is to think of different situations that cause you anxiety. Causes you to miss out, and rank them 1 to 10 as far as how much anxiety it causes, or how much FOMO it causes, how much fear it causes. So the next step is to visualize techniques. The next step is the visualization techniques and the breathing exercises. So this is the easy part. You just start by closing your eyes for a few minutes and envision happy thoughts. I'm taking a walk in the park. I'm going for a swim, whatever it is that you love to do. You just take deep breaths and you just stay calm. You just try to stay as calm as possible while you're thinking about these things and visualizing them. You continue doing that for a week or so, a few times per day, for a few minutes per day. And the goal is to get visualization down so you're able to really immerse yourself in it when you do it. It takes some practice for a lot of people to get visualization down. So we're starting off on easy mode, just doing a nice and easy, calm. Should I do this now? No, Duco, because I think you're driving. So do not close your eyes and think about your happy place. Please keep your eyes open. But yeah, this is just closing your eyes, is keeping calm, practicing keeping calm while thinking of your happy place. Very easy. And you just do it for 1 to 3 minutes. The goal is to really immerse yourself in it. And once you can really feel yourself immersed in it, that's when you get to the next step. So after you get the visualization techniques down, then you go to the bottom of that anxiety hierarchy list that you made and find out, what's on the bottom of that list. What's 1, the least threatening threat? So what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes now and visualize yourself in that threat. So for example, for some people, 1 could be Weeble comments. So for example, you can visualize yourself looking at Weeble comments about a stock, everyone's telling you to sell, or people posting the profits channel on play you missed out on due to work. And you visualize that. And at the same time, you do the same deep breathing exercises that you were doing in the past while you're thinking about your happy place. You try to be calm like you were when you were doing those visualization exercises about your happy place. What you're doing is practicing pairing the threat of missing out with being calm and deep breathing. So you're now when your body feels that threat or starts to feel that FOMO, that that threat of missing out, you start to get calm. Your body automatically starts to get calm because you're pairing that threat of missing out with being calm and deep breathing. And so it does not become a threat. You don't enter fight or flight mode. Your brain doesn't have that shift like we were talking about. You do it 20, 50 times every, until it becomes natural. And you're risk to do inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Someone is homesick, but they're supposed to. Your Vegas. Yeah, exactly, Pookie's there. Yeah, stimulate the vagus nerve. Yeah. See, Pookie's knows how to say it in smart people terms. It's just like smokers lining one up when they're stressed. Yep. So you do this 20 to 50 times until it becomes natural. Your response to the threat, so, the Weeble comments or the profits channel, will be paired and connected with being calm naturally in your brain. There is actually a change to blood flow over time. Studies have shown with this type of exercise. Just like when you lift weights, you get bigger muscles and can lift more the next time if you're consistent. You're training your brain here for your trading. This is one of the number one psychological treatments for phobias and PTSDs. So it's something that people use in work. This could be a way to help get rid of that threat for life with consistency. That threat is of missing out, a fear of missing out. And as you go up that list you made, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these different things that cause you FOMO, causes you fear, causes you to get that fight or flight mode. You have less and less fears as you master each and one, go up that list. You'll have less and less fears that will affect your trading throughout your journey. So now you can actually focus on learning your strategy and implementing your strategy. Because right now, a lot of a lot of traders out there, a lot of us, a lot of people here, myself included, we have the strategy down. You used to all see me in the $500 account channel. I have Jay's strategy down. That's not the problem. It's the emotions that are the problem. We have all these, all these curveballs and all these, these potholes to deal with, and that's these emotions. And once we can get that out of the way, then we could focus on the strategy and just making the strategy work. That's why when you watch Pookie's, or for those of you who are in Florida watching Ethan live, they don't have all those emotions because they've been through this. They've, a lot of them, they went, for a lot of traders, and we'll be talking about this in a little bit. A lot of traders, they had to hit rock bottom maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times, when it comes to their trading in order to really get, really figure it out, to really understand like, oh, I need to get my emotions in check. But ideally, that's what these classes are for. So you don't have to do that. You don't have to hit rock bottom and, zero your portfolio or whatever it is. Because we've been, a lot of us have been there and done that. So once again, as you go down that list, the whole goal is to have less and less fears that will affect your trading throughout your journey. Once again, so you could focus on the strategy, focus on the education. Otherwise, you're playing on hard mode. If you're not taking the psychology seriously, you're playing on hard mode. If you're not, doing these exercises or some kind of form of these exercises, journaling your trades, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be this. You're playing on hard mode. We aren't changing our behavioral patterns here. We're changing our thinking patterns. We change how we think about these threats, and thinking creates our responses. So the next strategy is cognitive journaling. Put a mirror behind your monitor screen. I might as well just let this go to 0. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, we all know that, that feeling. So the next strategy is cognitive journaling. So with this, you get a journal. You don't do this now, but you get a journal or a Word doc or, Microsoft or Google Docs or whatever. And you make 4 columns. You can use an Excel sheet. You label it A, B, C, and D. So A is activating event. So that's what you put in the top. This means the specific situation that gets us upset. So what is it that starts the process of FOMO? It could be those Weeble comments, the profit channel, when you see someone making profits on a play that you missed out on. Maybe it's being at work and not being able to trade. These are your activating events that cause FOMO. B is for your beliefs. This is the self-talk that happens in your head about the event. So when the event happens, for example, seeing profits posted on a play you missed, what thoughts do you say to yourself? You write these down. So for example, you might say, your beliefs. These are, typically negative for a lot of people. Traders who've been doing this for a while might be positive, but for a lot of traders, these thoughts might be, when you see profits posted on a play you miss, you might think, why do I miss out on every trade? Or why can I only get into the losing trades? Or whatever it is that your belief is, you write that down in B. Do I even know what I think? B says practical. C is the consequences of that negative thinking. So once you have that negative thinking, what are some of the consequences? For example, maybe because you missed a trade and had a negative belief due to that, you then force the next trade. You thought to yourself, why do I miss out on every trade? Why can I only, pick the losers? Well, then you're like, forget it. I'm going to go into this random trade that's not even part of my strategy because I need to pick a winner. I'm sick of getting these losers. I'm forget the strategy. I'm just going to YOLO. And it usually ends up with a loss, so that's, these are the consequences, what went wrong, why, because of that negative belief, what's the consequence? Maybe you traded outside your strategy to make up for the missed trade, or maybe you overtrade after experiencing FOMO. So to start with that, we start with practicing filling out the A, B's, and C's. We get good at identifying what upsets us, what causes that FOMO, how we feel about it, maybe some of the negative thoughts that happens when that happens, and then the consequences of those negative feelings. So for example, I looked at the profit channel and I saw profits posted on trade I was going to take, but I didn't. I thought to myself, which is B, why do I only pick the losers? And then the consequences, C, was I forced the next alert I saw, even though it was outside of my strategy and plan, because I wanted to finally pick a winner. And I end up losing big time because I was trading outside of my plan, outside of my strategy. What we are doing is emotionally connecting the negative beliefs with the consequences, which is really important as traders and just as people in general. A lot of traders only stop a bad habit once the consequences become so apparent that they don't want to go back. So typically that happens, like I was saying before, in the form of hitting rock bottom. Masters, I feel personally attacked. Trust me, I felt personally attacked when making this class. But I do honestly, with all these Wednesday psychology classes, I'm like attacking myself. So once again, a lot of traders only stop a bad habit once the consequences become so apparent that they don't want to go back. A lot of people in the rags to riches team, they got there. They, once again, a lot of traders only stop a bad habit, maybe day trading options or, day trading options that expired, on that Friday, whatever it may be, whatever that bad habit may be. Once the consequences, losing money over and over again, become so apparent, they don't want to go back. It's like, all right, well, look at this. I've been doing this for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Now I have a portfolio with negative, my portfolio is now down $4,000, whatever. It's so apparent. It's like, I can't keep doing this. I can't lose another $4,000 or 40,000 or 400, depends on the person. It could be $4. Typically that happens once again in the form of hitting rock bottom. Penny Boys is here. I know Pookie's is definitely here. We're doing these classes and these sessions so that instead of hitting rock bottom, ideally you can take these classes and do these exercises to help save you from those big losses, from that rock bottom. Those big losses that come from hitting rock bottom. We'd rather your aha moment be one of these classes or one of the live streams or Ethan trading. I know for Latvian, I know he was saying how, I think it was the Ethan live trading that was in Florida. But, we'd rather your aha moment be one of these classes instead of losing a bunch of money and having that rock bottom be your aha moment where, all right, now I need to get better. I need to figure out a better way. This isn't working. I don't want you to lose money. Pookie doesn't want you to lose money. None of us here in Penny Boys want you to lose money. That's why we're here. Most traders quit at rock bottom. We do not want that for you. So there's column D. D is disputation. So you're disputing negative thoughts with D. This is basically you talking back to those negative thoughts. Think of it like your trading angel on your shoulder. I think of it like a duck. How would you talk to someone else that you care about if they were in the same situation? We are hard on ourselves naturally. We all know it. If a friend in the Discord, so, Matt, I know a lot of us here, are friends. So the dude and Master, I know you've been here for a long time. You've been, friends for a while here in the Discord. Master, if the dude missed out on a trade, would your response to them be some of the same things that you might have written down? I know you've been trading for a while, Master, but you might have written down back in the day for that self-talk section, why do I always miss on every trade? Like if the dude said, hey, I missed out on this trade, would you say, hey, well, why do you miss out on every trade? Why are you only getting losers? Why do you suck so much? You're not going to say that. You might say it to yourself, but you're not going to say it to the dude or to a friend. So once again, if a friend in the Discord missed out on a trade, would your response to them be the same as what you wrote down for B, that self-talk section? We might tell ourselves, I'm a bad trader because I missed out on the trade. I always miss trades. I should have known better. Would you tell a friend in the Discord that? Would you tell the dude or Charlie that? They express being upset about missing a trade? Probably not. So why do you tell yourself that? You probably bring them up, not put them down. You tell them the market isn't going anywhere, that there will always be another trade, or that this was a lesson, not a loss. We typically are able to help be positive to others when they are faced with FOMO, but struggle to do that with ourselves naturally. So this is why we have these exercises and these strategies, because we don't do this naturally. So we have to work on it and practice it. And eventually it'll become natural, like it is for Pookies. So column D is all about talking to ourselves the way that we would talk to our friends. So this isn't about positive thinking. When you miss a trade, it's not positive. It sucks. But we can still have constructive thinking. There's a difference between positive and constructive thinking. So from everything, we want to take away a learning P&L if we can't have a monetary one. Obviously, we like both. That's the best. But at the very least, we can take away a learning P&L. Not every loss is a loss. Some are lessons. It really depends on how you react to them. When a friend misses a trade, you ask them, what did you learn? How can you help ensure it doesn't happen again? You're asking them about their learning P&L. That's what column D is. So you put all those constructive thoughts in column D, the things you would say to your friend in the Discord, to the dude or to Master, because that's the response that you should be having to A, not B. B leads to consequences, which is C. And we saw that already. A with B leads to C. When I have this, when I see Weeble comments, when I miss out on a trade, I think to myself, oh, I suck. I keep missing everything. C happens. I end up over trading, or I force a trade. We want to have A happen, miss out on a trade, and go right to D. You know what? This is a lesson. What did I learn? What can I do? What can I help? How can I help ensure this doesn't happen again? Just like you would ask the dude or master when it happens to them. Do you do it to yourself? So this exercise is all about basically just talking to yourself like you would to a best friend, and then making it natural. So imagine practicing A, B, C, and D every day. You get very good at real time with recognizing the negative thinking, seeing the consequences, and then reframing it. And eventually you can get very good at getting yourself into a calm and focused state while trading. You're taking the threat away from the situation. You got the threat away from FOMO. So there's no more fear because you got rid of the threat. And this takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to do a visualization technique and then tomorrow you're, a Zen trader. It's going to take a lot of time. Lastly, there is the broaden and build strategy. While you're in that check, yeah. So broaden and build strategy. So according to this strategy, one big reason we get caught up in P&L, wins and losses, is because we don't have enough other positive things going on in our lives at the moment of the trade. So we hear Penny Boys talk all the time about diversification of assets. For example, having some money in crypto, some in bonds, maybe some in dividends, like rags to riches, some in stocks, maybe some in day trade, some in swings, maybe some invested in your house, whatever, gold under your couch, whatever it is. The idea is to be diversified so that if one asset or investment goes down, it doesn't ruin you because you diversified into the others. Just like with the stock sectors, most successful investors will diversify instead of going all in on one sector like healthcare. Countryside Wi-Fi. They will diversify into different sectors so that if healthcare stocks all go down due to some news or whatever, the investor's portfolio, the whole portfolio won't go down with it. We all know how diversification works with trading. Well, in the same sense, it's important to ask ourselves, how balanced is my life portfolio? I'm talking about hobbies, relationships, work life, social life, spiritual life for some, or physical health for some. Diversifying your emotional capital, once again, diversifying your emotional capital is so important for when trading or a few trades don't go well. If I lose money from a trade, it's just one piece of my life. Of course, I still want to learn a lesson from it, but because I have diversification with my emotional capital, I have hobbies, a fiance, family, friends, a job I love, trying my best to help people. And I love this job. These are other things outside of trading that I have going on for myself. I feel like my personal emotional capital is diversified into many different things outside of just trading. Trading doesn't define me. So missing out on a trade or a few trades can't define me. I'm able to let the loss or missing out be a lesson and not consume me. If we put all of our energy and focus into trading, we lose that perspective, the bigger picture perspective. So if we focus only on trading and only on P&L, we could become vulnerable to emotions. So trading is important, but it's not all important. So once again, we care about learning P&L, not just portfolio P&L, and we have a P&L based on our life activities and emotional capital. We diversify our energy spend in life just like we do with stock sectors. The key to all these techniques that we just talked about is consistently working at them. It's all about building new habits of thinking and in turn building new habits of behavior. Once again, it's all about building new habits of thinking and in turn building new habits of behavior. And it doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of the times, it doesn't just happen naturally. It's not like charts where you can just watch a bunch of YouTube videos and figure out, oh, this is how the RSI works, because that's based off of math. Our brains are not based off of math. 3 G's of life: gambling, gym, and gaming. I love it. But yeah, for that, those are three different pillars, or three different ways that, some people could put emotion, their emotional capital into. And if for one person it's only gambling, only trading, that could be a problem. But if a person with gambling, gym, and gaming, when the gambling, or in this case, you're talking about stocks, when the trading doesn't go well, it's okay. I'm still doing well in the gym. I still got my gaming, my friends, whatever. That loss is a lesson. It's not everything. I didn't hit rock bottom because of that 1 or 2 or 3 losses, because that's not what defines me. So to finish the class, I want y'all to write down some goals. I'm going to write them down here. Number 1. There we go. This is for you. What do I do well that I want to improve upon this month? So what do you do well that you want to improve upon this month? What is it that you struggle with that you want to work on this month? And for both questions, how do you plan on doing that? So what do you do well currently that you want to improve on for this month? It's the beginning of September. What is it you struggle with that you want to work on for this month? And then how? And then check up on your response in a month and see if you held yourself to it. See how your learning P&L improved in a month, because that matters. Dodge, dip, duck, dive. So that is the end of the psychology portion of the class. I'm going to go ahead and end the StreamYard recording. Next 35 minutes. We're going to get right into the giveaway portion of the class. So thank y'all who are listening after the fact on YouTube. I hope that y'all tune in live next time so you can win some prizes, which we're about to do here for those of you who are listening live. But until then, I hope that y'all make some bread.